Hey guys, hope everybody's having a fantastic day. Whether you're watching this in the morning, in the afternoon, or in the evening, I'm glad you're here. I want to take a second and thank all the channel members. Thank you all so much. If you're inclined and you like EDC content and you haven't yet, please hit the subscribe button and the bell notification icon. It would really help me out. Today, I wanted to give you my long-term overview slash review of my latest EMP EDC knife, the Ronin. The Ronin is a knife that came into my possession through the drop that happened when I'm filming this mid-July. I think it was late June or not too long ago. This knife, there were some available for drop. The pre-order had already happened. I did not take advantage of the pre-order. I'd actually passed on it for the only reason that I am typically not a Tanto guy or Tonto guy. I did a video a few back where I went through my Tonto collection. It's by far the most underrepresented type of knife that I've got. But what happened with this knife is, when I was at Blade Show in 2023, I handled it at the booth. I was amazed with the slenderness of it and how different it actually was than the profiles, body styles of other EMPs that I had in my collection or that I was used to. It was just a totally different animal altogether. So I thought that was really unique. And then one of my best friends, local buddy here, A to Z EDC, you guys ought to go give him a follow on Instagram, picked up his pre-order that he had jumped on when he was at Blade Show. He picked it up from John and from Jamie. And I spent some time with that knife and actually hung out with that knife and thought it was just fantastic. It actually changed so much so that it changed my tune on thinking that I had to actually chase this knife. So when the drop was happening, I knew it was happening. I wanted this particular variant. That I knew that because I wanted it to match my relative, but I was not going to miss out on it. So, long story short, I got lucky because there were leftovers or there were some for the drop, and picked this up and have not looked back, have not regretted it, have carried this knife and ended, what's the word I was looking for? Not insurmountable, but if I was looking at the knives that I carry on the daily, which I carry a lot of different knives for different reasons, but this one has had almost a permanent spot in my pocket. It is literally a gentleman's Tonto. It reminds me of, and this is not even, this is just kind of fantasy talk, right? It reminds me of my Kaiser Genie, a real thin Kaiser knife on steroids. So then the Genie's a reverse Tonto. It's not even a good comparison. But what I mean by that is it is svelte, it is lean, it is super, super comfortable in the hand, and it scales out to be heavy and overbuilt, if that makes any sense. Um, I look at it as a slender, sleek package, yet it's got the blade stock, the tip, prying tip, super sharp, deep hollow grind that can do just about anything. So it carries like a dream, and its uses have been for me quite many. I mean, I've been done a lot with this knife. I've broken down cardboard, Amazon boxes with this knife. I've opened packages with this knife. I have cut wood with this knife. I've cut weeds with this knife. It cuts just about everything. It's designed to cut. And the grip is so comfortable. The clip gives me absolutely no hot spot. Now, I do have a medium, large size hand, right? And this choil is done so well for me. And the jimping is so not aggressive, but it's so substantial that it keeps my finger locked in place. So if I'm using this choil position to cut, I have absolutely no issue with that. Matter of fact, let's cut with this real quick. That's cutting through the hollow. See if we can get that front. And that's that front flat. Front's a lot thicker, and you've got that flat grind, and then you've got that hollow. It's about a half hollow. That's why the knife stays good and beefy. It's good and slicey, but when we get a measurement of this blade thickness, I think you guys will see that it's a very substantial, well-built knife. Two nice pieces of titanium with the titanium backspacer. I love the way they've engineered the lanyard for people who like lanyards. It exists in this little pinned area back here. For those who don't care for them, you don't have a hole in the knife. Two pieces of very well machined titanium, Elmax steel. Very nice stonewash on this Elmax steel. I love the little svelte pin-shaped deployment hole. It's for me, who is the middle finger flicker guy. I love this knife for that particular deployment method. It's just, for lack of a better term, money. I hate front flippers. This knife you can front flip like a dream because it's got that little jimps go all the way up around it front flipper. It locks back and then gives you this great purchase, whether you're choked up or you're choked back on the knife. Whether you're using this just as everyday EDC when you're going around your urban jungle, or if you're putting it through harder paces, or heaven forbid you're in a self-defense situation, I think this knife is one that I would gladly have in my pocket. Let's do a couple of quick size comparisons so you guys can see how this knife stacks up to other knives in the collection that you might be familiar with. First, we'll look at it next to the Cold Steel 4-Max. We haven't broken him out in a while. It's going to be smaller than the 4-Max. The Wee Baby Banter is going to be considerably larger than the Wee Baby Banter. Let's look at it next to the Benchmade Bug Out. A little bit longer than the Bug Out. And we will check it next to a Spyderco Paramilitary 2. And it's going to be a little shorter than the Spyderco Paramilitary 2. And for those of you who are familiar with the OG Nimble, the small Nimble, that is how the Ronin matches up in size with it. And another one of my favorites, and a newer one, the Relative, kind of in between those knives. So I was very impressed that it was indeed a very different knife that I was bringing into my collection. It wasn't something like I already had. But let's get the old Javon promotional tape measure that has a sticker on it and get some dimensions the best I can read them. It's about 7 3/4, I'm going to guess, length here. And the blade is going to be roughly 3.5. But if we get realistic and we look at the cutting edge, we're at a little over, right under 2.5. And the Tonto is about another inch. So 3.5 cutting edge, roughly. And then from that front choil to the back of the blade, it's roughly 4.5 inches. That is from here to here. It's 4.5 inches. The dimensions from here to here are going to be right at 4 inches. So let's break out Grateful Panic's calipers and let's see how thick this blade stock is. 0.15 roughly. 0.148. Behind the edge, which there's no need for me to get a behind the edge measurement because you guys know it won't be accurate, but it is a thicker hollow grind. Even though it's a hollow grind, it's half hollow. I would say the cutting geometry is You know, it's not the one that you'd want to break down a lot of cardboard boxes with, but in terms of needing it to be a cutting tool, I think it will more than live up to its task. Comes in right at 3.6 ounces. I think it's 3.6 ounces. Yeah, 3.6 ounces. And like I say, guys, it's just an absolute little banger of a knife. I don't know if these are still available at EMP site. When I put this up, I will link EMP EDC and the description of this. So that's where I get all my descriptions and the measurements and things like that for the description in the video. It'll come from EMP site. If you guys are interested, take a look over there. I know that the Ronin will be continued to be produced, probably in a V2. The lock bar access is done very, very well, where you can just go right at it here. You've got these two chamfers on each side. So it's just really easy to manipulate, to open and close, to fidget with. Does not get uncomfortable at all. Don't feel like you're reaching for it or having to work for it. It's just a beautifully designed and beautifully executed knife. And that is the EMP EDC Ronin. Guys, I'm so stoked that you've watched the video, that you've come by and you visited the channel. Thank you so much. And again, if you're so inclined, please hit that subscribe button. Please hit that bell notification icon. But please look out for the guy or gal to your left. Please look out for the guy or gal to your right. Look out for each other. Go forward with love in your heart. Choose debate, not hate. I love y'all. Peace.